Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabala Bhagiri Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Bala Bhagiri Hare Hare Yashodanandana Pratyajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Pratyajana Ranjana Jamuna Tirambanachari Jamuna Tirambanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Bala Bhagiri Hare Hare Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tirambanachari Jamuna Tirambanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Bala Bhagiri Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Or Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Together, please. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Virayat by regular attendance, before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan. Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and under Srila Vyasadeva, Nasta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established in the irrevocable facts. Right. This morning we're going to cover chapter 20 and focus on verse 18. Kantana Prabhu, if you would. But we have actually been assigned an inordinate amount of verses, so I'm just going to summarize the chapter. This is a very pivotal chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto. So to start, let's do a little bit of review. Would you like some review for the third canto? Yes. Okay. What's the name of the third canto? Okay. No, it's a status quo. Status quo. I didn't really expect you to know that. I didn't even try to look it up. But the third canto has some key sections, 3 or 4 key sections, and this chapter is in between 2 of the main ones. Okay, so as a review, let's just share with me, what do you remember? We've been studying the third canto all semester. What are some of the things you remember from the early part of the third canto? Just Brahma can fall. Okay, even Brahma can fall, yeah. Just macro as much as possible.
Well, Vidura gets insulted by his nephew.
Very good, yes.
He's like, oh, thank you so much. I can be done with this now.
Yes.
And he goes off.
Very good, yes. Excellent. This begins the third canto. Vidura leaves home. He's out traveling on pilgrimage, and who does he meet? Uddhava, who has just left Krishna, who is just about to depart. Okay, good. And so then Uddhava and Vidura have some conversations, and then Uddhava says to Vidura, look, if you really want to get more information, you should talk to Maitreya. So then Vidura and Maitreya begin the conversation, and that goes for 15 chapters or so, and now it's coming back again to this pivotal point in their conversation in this chapter 20. What are some of the things, though, before this? What's really the main topic that they discussed? The appearance of one of Krishna's avatars.
They're discussing creation.
Okay.
Secondary creation.
Okay, we'll get to that, yes. But earlier in the third canto, they're talking about the mystical appearance of one of Krishna's amazing incarnations, right at the very beginning of the creation. Varaha. Gabor, yes. And so Varaha appears and dispatches with Hiranyaksha, and then Vidura wants to know all about the backstory, right? So then what's the backstory to Hiranyaksha? Jai and Vijay. And the backstory to Jai and Vijay is? Back on Earth.
They were gatekeepers of Vaikuntha.
They were gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, yes. And they appeared as sons of whom? Right, Diti and Kashyapa. Remember the pregnancy of Diti in the evening, at inappropriate time, they conceived these inauspicious boys who were a bit rowdy. And so all of that is explained coming up to this point. And now the conversation is now returning to the topic of the Sarga and Visarga. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam has 9 topics. What are the first 2? Sarga, Visarga. What does Sarga mean? Creation. Right. What does Visarga mean? Secondary creation. right? So the Sarga is when all the Legos are, you go to the store and you buy a box of Legos, oh, that's Sarga. You've got all the components there. And then Visarga is when the kid comes in and puts stuff together. That's secondary creation. So Brahma is putting together the whole universe, filling everything up. What's the main business that Brahma is assigned with?
Creating progeny.
Yeah, it's filling it up. You got to fill up this empty creation. Before the cause of the Sarga. What is the cause of the Sarga of the first creation? What is the underlying cause of this whole material world that we're experiencing? Desires, right? The desires of the living entities to enjoy separately from Krishna. Krishna says, all right, here's your playground. Here's all the components. Brahma put it together. Okay. So that's the underlying, this false ego, this false identification with the body and the false idea of wanting to enjoy and exploit this material nature. That's the cause of the whole thing, isn't it? In the 7th chapter of the Gita, Krishna says, Bhumir apanalo vayu. The Sarga, material elements, are earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then he says, aparayamitas tvanyam prakriti vidime param. There's a superior energy to these gross material elements, which are, what is the superior energy above all the material energies? The soul, yes, the soul. So the soul is struggling hard with material nature. Because the soul has the desires, Krishna creates the material nature where we can pretend to be Krishna ourselves, lording it over our particular slice of the pie. So Brahma is the first created being in the universe. And this chapter describes all of the vicissitudes of his efforts to create. So the very first thing he creates, and I'm just going to summarize it quickly, and then we're going to look at the first thing he creates in detail. Okay, that's what this verse is. So he creates stuff that causes him problems, and then he creates wonderful, beautiful things. So just you and I experience this, right? Sometimes we do something good and we feel very proud of ourselves, and then we do something stupid and we feel very remorseful, and then the next day good, and then the next day remorseful, and these dualities are characteristic of life in this world, even in Krishna consciousness. Even in Krishna consciousness, it doesn't go away. What's the difference between the ups and downs of material life and ups and downs in Krishna consciousness? Or is there a difference? Okay.
It's a lot less in vain. Like when you're, because we hear that longing in a spiritual sense is a really healthy thing, and sometimes these more like negative things in the material world that really like are just suffering or can be dovetailed. And then instead of like worrying about your concerns are like, oh, I messed up that puja or like something. You know, it's like a lot of
There's, in other words, there's an underlying purpose for it all of devotional service. Huh? Okay, what's another difference between ups and downs that people ordinarily experience and ups and downs that devotees experience? Kavi?
I think material life is temporary and it has pain. And then spiritual life, the ups and downs, maybe when on the down, being able to persevere.
Okay, again, the purpose of serving Krishna through the ups and downs distinguishes them from this ordinary. There's what's the difference in the cause of the ups and downs for the conditioned soul and for the devotee? Cinderella?
Well, in material life, we're always pulled by the three modes of material nature.
Yes.
But in spiritual life, Krishna is utilizing his material nature to teach us.
Very good.
So
Exactly right. Yes. So the conditioned soul is just bouncing back and forth because of the interactions of the modes, according to their desire and their ability to fulfill the desires, their karma. But for the devotee, as soon as we say one time, Krishna, take me, I'm yours. Let's all say that. Krishna, take me, I am yours. From that moment on, everything that happens to us is directly controlled by Krishna. Directly controlled by Krishna. The ups, the downs, the good, the bad. So Brahma is experiencing these dichotomies as the first living being. And he creates, the first thing he creates is ignorance. That's the subject of today's class. And when he creates ignorance, he's not happy with the results. So the Bhagavatam says he casts off his body. And the acharyas explain that this actually means he just drops that thought. He just stops thinking in the way that created the ignorance. But then all the creations, all the rakshasas and yakshas, the demons that he created in this ignorant mode, think, oh, good, let's eat this body. Let's have dinner. And they start chasing Brahma to actually eat him. Now that, again, the subtle body has been dismissed, but Brahma is, and they want to eat. And he says, wait a minute, I'm your father. You're my children. You're supposed to help me and not eat me. But they're demons. So he gets in trouble. He goes to Krishna. Krishna guides him and okay, make something nicer. So he makes the demigods. And then he anyway, it goes on back and forth. He's making good things, difficult things, because that's where it all comes from in this material world. There's the good things and the bad things. So Brahma in this chapter creates all of these and has all of the dichotomies that come with it. So that's...
Sounds like he's trained on the job.
He's trained on the job, yes. And he's preparing the road for the rest of us. Yes. So that's just a very brief overview of chapter 20. Now, this, again, is a pivotal chapter. It's taking us into the last section of the third canto. Does anyone know what we're going to be studying for the rest of the semester? What's the big part of the third canto? Kardama Muni and? What's his wife's name? Devahuti, and their child is Kapila. So it's all about the appearance of teaching and the teachings of Kapila Deva for the rest of the third canto after this chapter. Okay, so let's get back to the first creation, the first thing that Brahma creates. He's this freshly minted, all the Legos, all the universal elements have been assembled, and then actually nothing's happening in this material creation until Krishna enters it as whom? Who does? What? Vishnu. Which Vishnu? Karnadakshay Vishnu has made all the universes, and then in the universe, Kshirodakshay Vishnu comes, and then he gives birth to Brahma. How? The lotus flower from his navel, right? Exactly. Brahma appears, then he gets his marching orders from Krishna shortly after about 10,000 years of meditation. So Brahma. Okay, now I'm instructed. I know what to do. So here's the first thing he creates. Sasarja chaya yavidyam pancha parvanam agrataha tamishram andatamishram tamo moha mahatamaha sasarja chaya yavidyam pancha parvanam agrataha tamishram andatamishram isram tamo moho mahatamaha. Okay, please chant. Sasarja chaya vavidyam Ansha Manam Agataha Tamishram Anda Tamishram Tamo moho tamaha tamaha. Sasarja chaya vidyam. Pancha parvanam agataha. Tamishram anda tamishram. Tamo moha mahatamaha. Sasarja chaya vidyam. Pancha parvanam agrataha. Mishram tamo moho tama maha. Anyone else? Sasarja chaya vidyam. Pancha parvanam agrataha. Tamishram anda tamishram. Tamo moho mahatamaha. Okay, synonyms together, please. Sasarja created, chayaya with his shadow, avidyam ignorance, pancha parvanam 5 varieties, agrataha. First of all, tamishram, tamishra, anta tamishra, anha tamishra, tama tamas, moha moha, mahatamaha mahatamas, or maha moha. Those are like the least informative synonyms. But don't worry, we will cover all of those. Translation together. First of all, Brahma created from his shadow the coverings of ignorance of the conditioned souls. They are 5 in number and are called Tamishra, Anta Tamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Maha Moha. Purport. The conditioned souls, or living entities who come to the material world to enjoy sense gratification, are covered in the beginning by 5 different conditions. First condition is a covering of tamishra, or anger. Constitutionally, each and every living entity has minute independence. It is misuse of that minute independence for the conditioned soul to think that he can also enjoy like the Supreme Lord, and to think, why shall I not be a free enjoyer like the Supreme Lord? This forgetfulness of his constitutional position is due to anger or envy. The living entity, being eternally a part and parcel servitor of the Supreme Lord, can never, by constitution, be an equal enjoyer with the Lord. When he forgets this, however, and tries to be one with him, his condition is called tamishra. Even in the field of spiritual realization, this tamishra mentality of the living entity is hard to overcome. Let's repeat that sentence. Even in the field of spiritual realization, this tamishra mentality of the living entity is hard to overcome. In trying to get out, we'll read together. In trying to get out of the entanglement of material life, there are many who want to be one with the Supreme. Even in their transcendental activities, this lower grade mentality of tamishra continues. Okay, we'll pause there for a moment. We need ignorance to be in the material world. We need ignorance. Therefore, it's the first thing created. Since the living beings are coming to live this fantasy life of enjoying it, the material nature, first thing is ignorance is required. What's an example? Like you have to be conditioned in a certain way before you can do something. Michael?
A lot of terrible things people do, like work at slaughterhouses. You have to be in certain ignorant consciousness to do that, otherwise you won't sleep at night.
You have to develop a kind of a insensitivity. Yeah, good.
Like gang members?
Gang members?
Or suicide bombers.
How about, right? Okay, that's good. That's an extreme example. How about football teams?
Yes.
That's right. I know, especially for women. Like the men are all into football, and they drag their wives along and their girlfriends along, and then after a while, the girlfriends get into it too. So everything. What's some other example? Here.
Before you learn to drive, your foot has to know like the left side is brake, the right side is gas.
Yes.
You precondition.
We really could extrapolate that to anything, right? Yeah, anything we learn, we have to be conditioned for it. Anything we want to do, you want to learn a trade, IT, medicine, law, chemistry, you have to become conditioned. This is what this particular discipline takes. So it's the same phenomenon going on, but before we can get into the consciousness of enjoying this world, we have to become, there has to be this ignorance to train us up. So the first one is tamishra, which is the anger or envy. Interesting how these two words, usually we think of them separately. There's anger and envy, but Prabhupada amalgamates them. This is because we get angry usually because of what? Okay, well, according to the Gita, what, Colin? Unfulfilled desires. Yes. What is it? Kamo, Dayatam Vishayan Pumsam. By thinking about the object of the senses, a person becomes attached to them. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. And then that attachment grows into lust. Like the examples given, you ever go into a department store? You are forced to walk by so many items for sale. The way the store is laid out, you're forced to walk by them because there's a chance that you'll see it and you think, oh, I've got to have that. Even if you didn't go in to buy it. Or have you ever go to a grocery store when you're hungry? They put the essentials like the dairy, if you're going to get milk, it's all the way at the back. You have to walk through so many aisles to get to the thing that you came in for. And by the time you come out, so sangat sanjayate kama, gotta have it. And kama krodha vijayate, because we get attached and then we can't get it. Or we get what we want and then it turns out to be a disappointment. This is the result of, or this is the cause of anger. So it's said, it's one distinction between anger and envy. It's said in the spiritual world, there's no envy, but there is anger. Like, for example, in Krishna's pastimes, we read many times, Krishna's not really angry, but he sure beats the hell out of the demons in different ways. I mean, we think of Lord Nrsingadev, of ripping apart Hiranyakashipu. I mean, that would take some, he was angry that Prahlad had been abused and so horribly. And yet in his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, Shani, the deity of Saturn, he says, Hiranyakashipu now meets his kind-hearted killer. He describes Lord Nrsingadev as kind-hearted, even though he's about to rip apart Hiranyakashipu. So this is the difference. In spiritual life, anger can be used. In material life, anger takes over. If we become uncontrollably angry, then we are acting under the modes of nature. If we show anger as a means of educating, like Mother Yashoda showed Damodar the stick, right? She didn't use it, but she showed it. See, or the cobra rises up and expands its hood, and it's a very frightening scene. Even without striking, he's scaring. Or the rattlesnake rattles. So there's a warning. See, so spiritual anger is like that. It is a warning. It is not overwhelming, but the living being is overwhelmed by the anger, and this leads to the feeling of envying others who have what one might hanker for. I'm just speaking with the devotee the other day. He's a very nice devotee. He's got a nice humble job. I mean, it's a professional job. He earns reasonably well. He said, when I take my kid to the daycare in the morning, I see all these Mercedes and all these very expensive cars coming in. I think, well, if I had a better job, I could afford one of those. when you think about it, a car is to get you from point A to point B. I don't mean to be picking on the Mercedes owners here. But you know what I mean. A car just gets you from point A to point B, but they market the prestige. So he was feeling envious. He was laughing at it, but he was just saying, this is the reason why these expensive cars are there and people buy them, because then they're like, oh, everyone's going to be envious of me. Even though a car that would cost 25% would do the same thing. So anger and envy are the first covering of a living being. In the purport, Prabhupada ties envy to to spirituality in what way? Like what, in other words, what path of spirituality is based on envy of Krishna? Impersonalism. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Impersonalism. Alex, you wanted to add to that?
It can mean like a person says, I want to control, I want to own, I want to be recognized, I want more.
Yes.
More.
In other words, I want to, my dear God, I want to become you.
Yeah.
I want to take over your position. Like now you're on the altar and I'm bowing, and if I bow enough, then I'm going to be on that altar. People will be bowing to me. This is impersonalism. As Giriraj Maharaj wrote, if to become God is your ambition, why should God help his own competition?
That's well said.
Yes, in other words, there's no exchange, there's no love, there's no devotion. Oh, this is envy. Okay, God, you've got the best Mercedes of all. I want your. So this is Tamishra, the first covering. Let's read on, next paragraph. Anda Tamishra involves considering death to be the ultimate end. The atheists generally think that the body is the self and that everything therefore ended with the end of the body. Thus, they want to enjoy material life as far as possible during the existence of the body. Their theory is, as long as you live, you should live prosperously. Never mind whether you commit all kinds of so-called sins. You must eat sumptuously, beg, borrow, and steal. And if you think that by stealing and borrowing you are being entangled in sinful activities for which you will have to pay, then just forget this misconception, because after death, everything is finished. No one is responsible for anything he does during his life. This atheistic conception of life is killing human civilization, for it is without knowledge of the continuation of eternal life. Modern religion kind of markets eternal life as a possible outcome of your spirituality. Right? I've been studying recently about religious trends in America, and it's really amazing what's happening. Even in my lifetime, what I've seen. When I was a kid, approximately 75% of Americans were Christians, and the majority of them would go to church regularly. I know my family we would go to church, even though my parents were not really that interested, but they thought it's good for the kids. And why was this such a prevalent thing? Because the church is where you get your socialization. You'd have your friends, you'd have your activities, you'd meet your spouse, and you belong. You belong to a team, a social entity. So one of the great accelerators of the great diminishing of religion in America has been what? Any guesses? No, not the Cold War. What has caused more than anything, especially in the last 20 or 30 years, the collapse of religion in America?
I'm thinking about your point of the physical space of the religious institute of being a space of social gathering. I'm thinking the internet gave a virtual space.
Thank you. Exactly. Yes, that is exactly right. The rise of social media creates the superficial sense of community, and therefore people think so. So then what happens is people start questioning the teachings of their church. When there's an option to get socialization outside of the church, then, well, then why should I believe in the virgin birth of Jesus? Why should I believe in the resurrection? Why should I believe in walking on water or all these things that seem like fairy tales? Of course, what we have from Srimad Bhagavatam, their stuff pales by comparison. But people start, because they're materialistic in their thinking, they start questioning these material miracles. Do I really believe in this? I remember my mother specifically, in her old age, I don't think I believe in a virgin birth. She'd been nominally a Christian all her life, and then in her old age, she decided, I don't think I really believe in that. So, so when people are going to, they're turning to religion just for the sake of material things, then this is not sufficient to actually change the heart. Okay, the heart remains pretty much the same, covered with ignorance, attached to the material world. The deal before was, if I belong to this church, I'll get a better material deal in this world. But when you take that away, what's left? So what is the difference in Krishna consciousness? We get our socialization, we have our friends, we have our community. What's the difference? Why is it that this little religious center here, this impoverished, humble religious center in 150-year-old buildings, is carrying on, whereas our peers around us here at the University of Florida have beautiful facilities, lots of money, and they're struggling to get, what's the difference? Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was raised Christian, so I definitely feel like the difference for me is that we have philosophy. Yes. That makes sense. Yes.
What is the first thing we learned from Bhagavad Gita?
You're not this body.
You're not this body.
I never taught that.
Never.
I asked my grandma when I was like a little kid. I was like, so if God created us, who created God? And she just said, I don't know, sweetie. And then I asked that to someone here, and they said they just quoted Bhagavad Gita, the one that said, we have always existed.
Yes.
So have all these kings.
Yes. Never was a time when God did not exist nor us.
I got the answer right away.
Right there. Yes.
This is ABC.
I remember asking in Sunday school, why do bad things happen to good people? If God's all powerful and God's all good, why would he allow this? And the teacher said, that's one of the mysteries of God. So you just have to accept so many things. Why? In order to belong to the community. Okay. So in Krishna consciousness, we start on the opposite side. First, you have to understand this. You're not this body, you're a spiritual being, and this is how you can experience your spiritual life. So people might even want to be part of our community, but if they don't understand this, after a while they say, well, why should I get up so early? These classes are boring. or okay, this is some ritual. We're offering arti and we're clapping and chanting. Okay, now I think I'll go do something else. See, in other words, unless there's a philosophical basis for what we're doing. So what is that basis? That we're eternal. And this is the second covering, that we're going to die. So this is a necessary next stage of ignorance. There's 3 left, but they're only briefly described here. This anhata mishra is due to tamas, the third one, ignorance. The condition of not knowing anything about the spirit soul is called tamas. This material world is also generally called tamas because 99% of living entities are ignorant of their identity as soul. Almost everyone is thinking that he is this body. He has no information of the spirit soul. Guided by this misconception, one always thinks, this is my body, and anything in relationship to this body is mine. For such misguided living entities, sex is the background of material existence. another sentence that deserves repeating, but I won't. Actually, the conditioned souls in ignorance of this material world are simply guided by sex life. And as soon as they get the opportunity for sex life, they become attached to so-called home, motherland, children, wealth, and opulence. As these attachments increase, moha, or the illusion of the bodily concept of life, also increases. Okay, we'll take a pause there. So it's tamishra, anta tamishra, tamas, ignorance. And it's because of that identifying with the body, therefore, pumsa striya maituni bhavam etam turorapi hridayagrantiyahu. Men become attracted to women. Women become attracted to men. They come together. Then there's a tight knot in the heart. And then, because that becomes so important in life, to griha kshetra sutapta retire. Then you have to have a kshetra, an apartment, a home, sutapta. And then you get so many relatives. And then vrita, you need money to pay for the whole show. Janasya mohoyam aham ameti. And this way, life's illusions increase. Okay? Moha means illusion. So the ignorance, thinking that there's no life after death means, well, I might as well enjoy this life as much as possible. So let me hook up, and then I'll enjoy sex life. And then as a result, so many burdens are there, and then there is illusion. Okay, this is what my purpose in life is, taking care of all this stuff. And then thus the idea that I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine also increases. And the whole world is put into moha. Sectarian societies, families, and nationalities are created, and they fight with one another. Pretty much entire human history is summarized in less than one paragraph. Maha moha means to be mad after material enjoyment. Especially in this age of Kali, everyone is overwhelmed by the madness to accumulate paraphernalia for material enjoyment. And then there's a quote at the end without a translation, so I'm going to let that go. Okay, so this is, so these 5 things. Let's see if you can't remember anything else from this class. What are see if you can memorize these 5 manifestations of ignorance that cover the living entity. First one is tamishra, which means anger and envy. Second one is anta tamishra, which means
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die. Right. Right. I'm gonna die, so therefore I might as well enjoy. And then the powerful urge to enjoy is called tamas. Yes, tamas, ignorance. And then indulging in this powerful desire to enjoy leads to moha, illusion, collecting all the paraphernalia, which finally concludes in maha moha, which means now I got my whole tribe, and gators. This is, yes, the ultimate conclusion of material life. And Amazon Prime, yes. Okay, so these are the first thing created by Brahma, Amazon Prime, the first thing. So they're just more polished manifestations of the same old thing. Same old thing. So just include, we have our tribe, our Hare Krishna tribe. It was so nice. Was anyone at the program Wednesday night in the temple, last day of Karti? Wasn't that sweet? So this was like a big festival ever before. It was barely just like announced, but all these devotees came, and it was just kind of magical. They just kind of come to hear the last recitation of the Damodar Astakam for Karti, and it was so sweet. That I think it was because of the spontaneity of it that kind of set it apart from other gatherings. But the point is that people were coming just out of their love for Damodar, out of the love for Karti, out of the love for the Damodar Astakam. There was a feast, but it was a very plain feast. So we have our tribe, we have our attachments, we have our socialization. But we do these things because there's an underlying purpose, right? And there's a philosophy, and that's actually what drives us to want to be in the association of devotees. So it's that knowledge that overcomes the ignorance, because that is those two things are antithetical. If we have knowledge, we can overcome these influences of ignorance. And even though there'll be the ups and downs, they'll have some meaning. Even though there are ups and downs, we'll know Krishna's sending this to me. Krishna's doing this to me for some damned reason. I don't know what it is right now, but I trust that Krishna has some purpose. And I'm going to come out of this a beaten and battered and bruised better bhakta. All right. Any comments? Any other reflections on ignorance? Yes.
Stan Charan Prabhu is from Russia, not from India. He says that he was preaching to someone, and the person asked, "So what you mean is, when I die, my soul goes somewhere else?" That was understanding. And Maharaj concluded that there is two types of, two ways people pursue spiritual life. One is, I am the soul and I have the body. Other one is, I am the body and I have the soul. So priority is given to the body. And like I said, so when I die, I may qualify. My soul is going to qualify for spiritual life. So there's a big difference in Krishna consciousness. We prioritize the soul. In other traditions, very often it's the body, this life, your family, everything around you, and soul is secondary.
Very, very good. I might just share my observation. Over the years, ISKCON has evolved a little bit. When we first started, it was all about this philosophy and realizing, hey, I'm not this body. And it was such an eye-opener that we just said, oh, everything else sucks. And I'm just going to chant Hare Krishna and distribute books and go on Harinam and do offerings and go back to Godhead. That's my life. Now, this is our life plan at age approximately 19 to 21. And then after about 5 or 6 years, most of us said, well, actually, this life of a grihastha looks pretty nice, independence, no temple commander. I think I'll keep chanting Hare Krishna, but that looks like a nice way to live. And then the temple president says, okay, great, have a nice life, see you later. No training, no preparation, right? You've given up a lot of your earning development and your earning years in order to serve, and then all of a sudden you're starting from scratch, way behind the rest of the crowd. So this is why there was a great deal of difficulty after Prabhupada's, even before Prabhupada's departure, he was seeing this happen. And so remember his last ambition, what he wanted to do, last thing he tried to do, his last service for ISKCON. Yeah, he was trying to come to Gita Nagari to teach the devotees how they could be Krishna conscious householders. He saw these renunciates were not really going to make it lifelong. So that's what Krishna House is about, to try to give people preparation, because you can have a house and you can have a job and you can have income and you can do all the things that are apparently the same as the Maha Moha crowd. But you can do them for Krishna. And I would say more importantly, you can do them in a detached way, knowing that you're going to have this stuff, but it's going to be gone tomorrow. And therefore, it's not quite as important as it appears. Okay. Excuse me for pontificating there. Okay, yes, Prabhuji.
Unless there's somebody else. Thank you. Thank you very much. On the point, not on the point of ignorance as you asked, but on the point of moha or illusion. I heard once Prabhupada was asked by a reporter, because Prabhupada was talking about illusion of this world, and the reporter asked him, so what if this Krishna consciousness is also an illusion?
What did he say?
So Prabhupada said in his own style of master, conversator. He said, then this Krishna consciousness is the best illusion.
It's the best illusion.
He was never defensive in a way, but always went alone and made a point.
Thank you.
Best people you can be around, best food, best everything.
Very, very interesting point. Yes, and in that vein, on another occasion, he said, even if there is no Krishna, it's a better way to live. I just appreciate this point. The best people, but doesn't every tribe think, well, we're the best people? You know, every football team in America, even if they have a losing record, we're number one.
Best way to see people.
Best way to seek people. To see people. Okay. Okay. Right. In other words, the devotees are not seeing us as material entities to be exploited in one way or another. Okay. Good. Hey, thank you, Alex.
In the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivera Swarupa Haya Krishnaya Nitya Dasa. It's that the true constitutional position is understanding that you're the eternal servant. But I had one time when I was at Orlando reception in prison, this dude told me, a dude I know, he was like, oh, what you mean I have a soul? He was like, when I die, I'm dead. There's nothing after that. I'm like, no, bro. When you're done, like your soul will push on, your body will go into the dirt, and your essence of consciousness will move from one spot to another. And he was like, bro, there's no way. We're dead. He couldn't fathom the fact that there was life after death, and he couldn't understand that. But it's truly avidya. Like, that's some spirit souls, they're so stuck in the Maya that they don't see past the veil. They don't go past step one, as my dad would say.
Prabhupada said here, 99%, and he was being generous. 99% of living beings think I am this body. I mean, every animal just completely thinks I am this body. That's their suffering, their karma, and they're always in anxiety because their bodies are frail and they know it. So protect. But the human being has this ability to take a step back and say, am I this body? But very few. He could not even wrap his head around it. Huh? Yeah. And some faiths teach that if you believe, then you have eternal life, and if you don't, you're done. Or even worse, if you don't, then you have eternal life in hell. Right? But this world is hell. It's with chocolate frosting. You know? Oh, got a mic? Oh, I'm sorry. Glenda, you waiting? Then, are we ready to serve? Okay. So last point.
Haribol? Okay, sorry. I was just thinking, we hear so many stories, and it all goes back to one thing, Krishna, right? To be Krishna conscious. That's the cure of all that ails everything, the difference.
Yeah, it sounds a little shallow to say, oh, you're depressed, just chant Hare Krishna, you'll be fine.
No, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
The thing is, to be depressed with Krishna or to be depressed without Krishna is a big difference.
So gopis are depressed about Krishna, aren't they?
Yeah, no, but they don't even mind to go to hell, because wherever they go, they source Krishna there.
Thank you. Okay, so excuse me, we'll finish. Prasad is ready. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.